What's up, everybody? If you don't know me already, my name's Harry Swales. I'm 20 years old and I own my own online advertising agency. And today I'm going to be talking to you about books. Specifically today I'm going to be sharing 3 books that helped me make over 10K a month when I was just 19 years old with no college degree, no fancy certifications or anything like that. Now, obviously, to make money like that at such a young age, it takes a ton of hard work. You have to learn high-value skills, stuff like that. Books alone won't get you there. But these 3 books I'm going to talk about were definitely a huge influence on me and really helped me get the right mindset I needed to be able to grow a business at such a young age. So real quick, I just want to talk about my thoughts on reading and books in general. Growing up as a kid, I actually hated reading. I didn't read at all. But then once I got into high school, I started picking up a book here or there, reading through them. And that's when I realized, like, if you think about it, all the greatest minds in pretty much any industry ever have put more or less everything they know into a book that you can go pick up for 10, 15, 20 bucks. And so I always knew I wanted to run my own business. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So when I started thinking about it like that, I realized all the greatest business owners and entrepreneurs in history basically have written their own books about their journey in business or business tips, whatever it may be. And I could literally learn from the best minds in business for like 10 or 20 bucks per book. Personally, reading isn't super fun for me. Sometimes I'll read a great book that's super interesting and I just blast through it. But reading generally isn't super fun for me. I just make sure I schedule it into my day, so I do it every single day. And I've learned so much from so many books. As you can see here, it's always in the background of my videos. I'm always buying a ton of new books. There are a ton I've read this year that aren't up here. And so reading might not be super fun. It might not exactly be what you want to do with your time, but it's super beneficial. And especially anyone getting into business, I definitely recommend reading a handful of business books because they can be super helpful. So now I'm just gonna get into the 3 books that, like I said, helped me make over 10K a month when I was just 19. The first one is The $100 Startup. This was one of the first business books I ever read. What I really like about this book is it's easy to read, it's got short chapters, and it's full of case studies about people who started their own business or their own side hustle without any money from investors, without any fancy business plans, without any of the traditional stuff you think you need to start a big business. The author also talks about the idea that you don't even need to start a big business, right? If your salary's 70 grand a year and you can replace that by doing something you're passionate about, wouldn't you rather work a job, work for yourself, and do what you want every day and make the same amount of money as a job than go work for someone else, sit behind a desk for 8 hours a day? It really opened my mind because I think a lot of people think if you're gonna start your own business, you have to aim to make $5 million a year, have a ton of employees, do this and that, but you really don't. You can honestly just be a freelancer, make 5 to 10 grand a month, and as long as you're satisfied with how much you're making and you're financially responsible so you don't just blow all your money, if you can make enough to live off of it, in my opinion, most of the time you'll be happier doing your own thing and doing what you want to do than going and working for someone else, even if you're not going to make a ton of money, even if you're not going to become rich doing it. So this is a great book, definitely recommend it. The next one, most of you have probably heard of it if you're watching this video, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I won't talk about it too much because pretty much everyone in this space has read it already. If you haven't, definitely buy it, definitely read it. It's a phenomenal book. It's so famous for a reason. He talks a lot about working and traveling, finding a work-life balance, figuring out how to delegate and automate your business. It's huge. It's something I'm taking lessons from. I read this like 3 years ago, but I'm still taking lessons from it right now because I'm working on building systems and delegating a lot of the stuff in my agency. So it's definitely a super valuable book, tons of good lessons. And the last one is The Millionaire Fastlane. Again, pretty popular, but I'd say definitely less popular than The 4-Hour Workweek. This one has some ideas that some people might think are a little radical, might not agree with. The author, MJ DeMarco, goes against a lot of what society teaches us and what society believes. So some of this stuff in here is a little out there for some people, but this was a huge book in my journey as becoming a business owner and honestly just thinking for myself. The biggest message is like, screw whatever everyone in society tells you, like think for yourself, because we're almost programmed from such a young age these days to listen to other people and not to think for ourselves at all. And I'm not saying you have to like drop out of school and become this crazy radical thinker, but the book definitely encourages you to just take a second and think about the things we've been told. Think about why we do things a certain way. Because sometimes, even though it's been done that way and people tell us to do it that way, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way to do something or the right way to do something. He talks a ton about how getting a job, saving money, investing it in like the S&P 500 is cool and like stable, but it's never going to make you rich. And it's actually a lot less stable than you think, because everyone's like, oh, I want a good stable job. Like, you can be fired at any time. The business you work for can go out of business and then you're without a job. So he talks about a bunch of cool stuff like that. I definitely recommend it. Just as a bonus, I have two other books I want to mention. First one's Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This was one of those books that I mentioned that I loved reading. It was super fun to read, super insightful. The dude's lived a crazy life. And it's just kind of like a motivational book. Like, it makes you realize how far you can push yourself. Just having those thoughts and that mentality on days when business is tough or you don't feel like working is huge. Last one I want to talk about is The Way of the Wolf. Great sales book. You've probably heard of The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, the salesman. Great movie, but this book isn't about that story. It's actually just a sales book. Jordan explains his sales system and how he's so good at selling and how he trained other people to be so good at selling. So if you're in sales or if you're not in sales, I think it's a great skill for anyone to have regardless. So I definitely pick up this book as well. So that's it for the 3 books that helped me get to 10K a month at 19 years old. Also, those 2 bonus books are sick. All these books back here, I don't know if you can read the title. I've loved every single one of them. As always, if you liked the video, click the like button, click subscribe, stick around for more. Also, if you have an e-commerce business and you're doing 20K or more a month in revenue and you want to scale with paid ads, go down to the description, find the link to book a call with me, and we'll see if my agency could help you scale your e-commerce business. Also, if you want to learn exactly how I run ads on Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok, I do have a course below. It's under $100, super cheap, full of a ton of great content. So check that out if you're interested.